Welcome back. You're still watching Good Morning Namibia. Now, Namibian students are expected to benefit from a new government-subsidized tertiary education program, which is expected to start this year. This program basically covers registration and tuition fees for public universities and vocational training centers. Now, this initiative also comes with choosing a career path when entering tertiary education, which is a significant decision that involves balancing personal interests with practical long-term goals. Now, it is a process of self-discovery, research and planning. And joining us with more on the key factors and steps for choosing a career before or during your time in tertiary education is career guidance practitioner at the Namibia University of Science and Technology, Mr. Michael Kisting. Mr. Kisting, a very good morning to you and welcome to the show.
Good morning, ma'am. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. First things first, what would you say are the most important things a student should understand about themselves before choosing a career?
Students should understand their interests, strengths, values, and personality. It is important to know what subjects they enjoy, how they learn how they learn best, and what motivates them. They should also reflect on whether they prefer working with people, data, or hands-on tasks, and what kind of lifestyle they would want in the future.
So how can a student realistically match their interests and abilities with possible careers?
Students can start by identifying subjects they perform well in and enjoy. They then exploring careers that are linked to those subjects. So they can work on career guidance tools, aptitude tests, and discussions with teachers. Career counselors or professionals can also help. Work exposure, volunteering, or job shadowing also gives a student a realistic picture of what they want to do one day and what matches their abilities.
Well, it's mostly first years who are at risk of being confused and then they change subjects in their second year, maybe change, courses in their second year. But what are some of the most common mistakes that students make when choosing careers and how can they avoid them?
Common mistakes are including choosing careers based on peer pressure, family expectations, money alone, or what is trending on social media. Some also choose without researching entry requirements of the realistic of the job. So they can be avoided by doing proper research, seeking guidance, and making decisions based on personal strengths and long-term goals.
Subject choices and grades when deciding on a career path. Do you think students nowadays are very realistic about what they're choosing? Perhaps one wants to study medicine, but they only got 26 points in 5.
Would you repeat the question again, please?
Do you think students are very realistic when it comes to, choices that they make when it comes to the subjects and the grades? Do you think they're very realistic when it comes to that? And how important are subject choices and grades when deciding on a career path?
No, they are not realistic because the problem is that there is not proper research, as I mentioned before. So it's very important because many careers and tertiary courses have specific subjects and grade requirements. For example, if you want to study at NAST or UNAM or wherever, science, engineering, and health-related fields often require strong mathematics and science results. Early subject choices can either open or limit future options, so students should choose carefully and seek advice early.
So what are some of the skills that students should start developing while still in school to prepare for tertiary education?
Key skills include time management, study skills, critical thinking, communication, problem solving, and basic digital literacy. Self-discipline and reliance are also crucial, as tertiary education requires independent learning and responsibility.
How can students assess whether they are academically ready for a specific course or career? Also, as a career guidance counselor, would you consider perhaps students taking a gap year in order for them to just do proper research when it comes to choosing their courses and careers in the future?
Usually, choosing a gap depends on the circumstances surrounding the student, but they can compare the current grades with the minimum entry requirements of the course. Speaking to lecturers, career counselors, or admissions officers helps clarify expectations. So students can also reflect on the consistency, workload management, and willingness to improve in challenging subjects.
Would you say it's important to consider future demands and employability when choosing a career? Or should people just go for what they love and what they feel like, that is what is meant for them?
It is very important, ma'am. While passion matters, students should also consider whether the career is in demand and offers sustainable employment opportunities. Balancing personal interest with market needs increased the chances of long-term career stability and growth.
I think finances is always top of the chart when we speak about, school and education. But what are some of the financial factors that students and perhaps families should consider before committing to a course or study?
That is very important, ma'am. So they should consider tuition fees, accommodation, transport, learning materials, and living expenses. The length of the course and whether it allows for part-time work should also be considered. Planning realistically helps avoid financial stress and dropouts at the end of the day.
Now, for those that do not qualify for the new government-subsidized tertiary education program, how can they basically plan for funding, bursaries or perhaps loans while choosing a career?
There are always the options of scholarships, bursaries, institutional payment plans, and the student loans early. Some employers like NGOs and private companies also offer funding tied to specific fields. Choosing a career path that allows the flexible study options such as part-time or blended learning can also help manage cost.
Mr. Kisting, perhaps before we let you go, what final advice would you like to give to perhaps a student who's watching Good Morning Namibia this morning, who basically feels uncertain about choosing the right career?
Yes, ma'am. I would say to all the students that feeling uncertain is normal. Career choice is not a once-off decision, and many people change paths along the way. The key is to start with informed choices, remain flexible, and be willing to learn and adapt. Seeking guidance, staying curious, and focusing on continuous self-development will always keep doors open. So career choices will affect every aspect of your life as a student. So therefore, please make informed decisions.
Well, Mr. Kisting, it's been a pleasure talking to you this morning. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, ma'am. It was a pleasure.